Under the glare of studio lights, liberal television host Mark Ellison delivered a remark that would ignite a media firestorm. With a sarcastic tone, he mocked Melania Trump, insinuating that she only looked concerned when it suited her. Laughter erupted in the studio, but not everyone found it amusing. Watching from his secured suite in the White House, Barron Trump froze. He had seen his mother endure relentless mockery for years, but this was different. The sneer in Ellison's voice wasn't just an insult, it was an attack. Fury surged through Barron as he thought about the nights Melania had comforted him, shielding him from the cruelty of public scrutiny. She was more than a first lady. She was his protector. Now, it was his turn to stand up for her. With a steady breath, he turned to a nearby Secret Service agent and made a bold declaration. "Get my lawyer on the phone. I'm suing him. $100 million. News of the lawsuit spread like wildfire. Headlines blared, "Barron Trump sues television host for $100 million over Melania insult." Social media exploded, with opinions sharply divided. Critics dismissed Barron as overly sensitive, mocking him for taking legal action. Supporters, however, praised his courage, arguing that someone finally needed to hold the media accountable. As the controversy escalated, even Melania was taken aback. Sitting in her private White House quarters, she watched the news unfold. When Barron entered the room, she spoke softly. "You didn't have to do this for me." But his response was firm. "They've disrespected you for years. Enough is enough." Unbeknownst to Mark Ellison, his offhand remark had triggered a battle far greater than he could have ever anticipated. Barron Trump sat in his secured White House suite, his eyes fixed on the television screen. Mark Ellison, the liberal television host, leaned forward, his voice dripping with sarcasm as he mocked Melania Trump. Laughter erupted in the studio, but Barron wasn't laughing. His mother had endured years of public ridicule, but this was different. The way Ellison sneered, the calculated tone of his voice, it wasn't just a joke. It was an attack. His hands clenched into fists as memories of his mother's quiet strength flooded his mind. The nights she stayed up comforting him, shielding him from the relentless cruelty of the media. She had always been his protector. Now, it was his turn to protect her. The Secret Service agent standing nearby noticed the shift in Barron's expression. "Sir, is everything all right?" he asked. Barron exhaled slowly, his decision firm. "Get my lawyer on the phone." The agent hesitated. "A lawyer?" "Yes," Barron said without wavering. "I'm suing him. $100 million. He crossed the line. The agent nodded, knowing the world was about to witness a battle they never saw coming. News of the lawsuit spread like wildfire, igniting a fierce media storm. Some ridiculed Barron, calling him overly sensitive, while others praised him for finally standing up for his mother. Meanwhile, Melania sat in her private White House quarters, watching the news unfold. When Barron entered, she met his gaze. "You didn't have to do this for me," she said softly. Barron's voice was steady. "They've disrespected you for years. Enough is enough." She touched his face, her eyes brimming with emotion. "You are so much like your father," she whispered. As the news of Barron Trump's lawsuit spread, Mark Ellison sat comfortably in his high-rise office, smirking. The idea of being sued by Donald Trump's youngest son amused him. A lawsuit from the kid? Oh, this will be fun. He chuckled to his producers. He saw it as just another controversy, another headline to fuel his ratings. What he didn't realize was that he had just awakened a storm far greater than he anticipated. Social media erupted with heated debates. Some ridiculed Barron, calling him entitled and overly sensitive. Others applauded his decision, arguing that the media had crossed a line for too long. News anchors speculated on whether the lawsuit had any real legal ground, while late-night comedians turned it into their latest punchline. Then, late one night, Barron's phone rang. The number was unknown. Cautiously, he answered. "Barron, this is Clint Eastwood." Barron sat up straight, gripping the phone. "Mr. Eastwood?" "I saw what happened," Eastwood said, his voice calm but firm. "I respect what you're doing. I know what it's like to stand alone against the media, but be careful, these people don't play fair." Barron hesitated. "What do you mean?" "They'll dig, twist, and attack. They'll try to break you before this even reaches court." Barron swallowed hard. He had expected backlash, But now, for the first time, he felt something else creeping in fear. Still, he clenched his fists. "I'm not backing down, sir." Eastwood chuckled. "Good. Then prepare for war." As Barron hung up, he knew one thing for certain: this was no longer just a lawsuit. The backlash against Barron Trump escalated rapidly. What started as media mockery soon turned into a full-scale smear campaign. A major news outlet aired an explosive report with the headline, "Exclusive: Barron Trump's secret scandal. What is the first son hiding?" The segment was filled with baseless accusations, including claims that Barron had misused government resources for personal gain. Doctored photos surfaced online, portraying him partying recklessly, completely fabricated lies. Melania gasped as she watched the coverage. "They're trying to destroy you," she whispered, her hand covering her mouth. Barron's jaw tightened. "I knew they'd fight back, but this is disgusting." In a dimly lit newsroom across the city, Mark Ellison and his producers laughed. "We paint him as a spoiled brat, and the lawsuit falls apart," Ellison said smugly. But the attacks didn't stop there. That night, Barron received an anonymous email with a chilling subject line, "You need to see this." Attached was a deepfake video, skillfully edited to make it look like Melania had mocked an underprivileged family. Though completely false, the video spread like wildfire. News outlets jumped on it, and social media exploded with outrage. Melania sighed, exhaustion in her voice. "They want us to break." Barron stood up, fire in his eyes. "Then they'll be disappointed." Despite the relentless attacks, Barron refused to retreat. His legal team scrambled to debunk the deepfake, with experts proving it was manipulated, but the damage had already been done. On live television, Ellison smirked, feigning innocence. "I didn't make the video," he said, "but the truth about Melania is finally coming out." Barron clenched his fists. He knew what they were trying to do: turn his mother into the villain, but he wasn't going to let them win. As Barron sat in his White House suite, overwhelmed by the relentless attacks, his phone buzzed with an anonymous email. The subject line read, "You need to see this." Hesitant but curious, he opened the message. Attached was a scanned letter. Its contents made his hands shake. It was an internal email from Mark Ellison to his producers, sent before his infamous on-air remark about Melania Trump. The message was damning. "Let's hit Melania hard. Make her look cold, distant. The public eats that up." Barron's heartbeat thundered in his chest. This wasn't just an offhand comment, it was a calculated move to destroy his mother's image. Without hesitation, Barron ran to the Oval Office where his father was on a call. "Dad, look at this," he said, his voice shaking. Donald Trump took the letter, his expression darkening. He grabbed the phone. "Get my lawyers, now." The leak changed everything. The White House legal team pored over the document, realizing they had the ultimate proof. Ellison's attack wasn't satire or opinion. It was deliberate defamation. One of the lawyers leaned forward. "This is it, we have him." Before they could file the new evidence, a breaking news alert flashed across the television. Leaked email exposes Mark Ellison's secret plot against Melania Trump. Someone had beaten them to it. The letter was now public, and the media firestorm was instant. Ellison's smug grin vanished as he slammed his desk in rage. "Find out who leaked it," he barked at his team. For the first time, the public saw the truth. The tides were turning. Barron had gone from being mocked to being seen as the son who dared to fight back, and now he had the evidence to win. The courtroom was silent as Barron Trump entered, flanked by Secret Service agents. Cameras flashed, capturing the moment the youngest Trump took a stand. Across the room, Mark Ellison sat smugly, confident that the case would crumble. The trial began, with Barron's lawyers presenting their case. They laid out the leaked email, proving Ellison's attack on Melania was intentional. They showcased the smear campaign, the deepfake video, and the relentless attempts to discredit Barron and his mother. When Ellison's lawyers took the floor, their defense wavered. They had no real justification, only weak claims of satire and free speech. Then the judge turned to Ellison. "Do you stand by your words against Mrs. Trump?" For the first time, Ellison hesitated. It was satire. Barron stood, his voice steady. "You knew what you were doing, and you don't even have the courage to admit it." The jury deliberated for hours, but when they returned, The decision was clear. The foreman stood. In the matter of Barron Trump versus Mark Ellison, we find in favor of the plaintiff. Gasps filled the courtroom. We award damages in the amount of $100 million. Barron exhaled, emotion tightening his chest. He had won. But as reporters swarmed him outside, he made his true intentions clear. This was never about money, he declared. It was about dignity, about respect. The next morning, Barron announced he was donating the entire settlement to charities supporting women.